everyone. I'm starting off by prepping my eyes the same way that I always do. I'm using my soft ochre paint pot from MAC, and this just ensures that my eyeshadows will last all day. I'm going to be using my favorite eyeshadow palette today. This is the Tartelette in Bloom palette, and I'm just using this white cream shade to just go ahead and set the paint pot. After that, I'm going to be taking the skin tone color and just using this as a super soft transition shade. I will go back and deepen up the crease and the transition shade later. This is just really to set the crease mostly. After that, I'm going to be mixing together these two warm tone shades and really focusing on deepening up the crease. So I'm just going to be blending these back and forth and building the color up. This is going to focus on adding dimension and some depth to the look. So I'm just taking my time with this. I always like to start with a little product and then build up to more product. It's just a lot easier that way, so you make less mistakes along the way. You can see that I switch up my blending brushes. One is mostly to pack the product on, and then once I switch over to this white-haired brush, it's more to blend the product out. So you'll notice when you play around with different brushes, what ones work better for specific blending techniques. So you'll see me switch up my brushes a lot throughout the process here. Once I'm done blending that out, I'm going to be picking up these two deep brown shades of the palette, and since I'm creating a halo effect, I'm going to be packing this on the outer V, and then you'll also see me go in and pack this product on the inner corner of the eye as well. That's what's going to create that halo effect. So you want darkness on the inner and outer corners, and then we're going to do a pop of color right in the center of the lid. So you'll see here, I just used a blending brush to get the outer crease, and now I'm using a small, dense packing brush to just pack this on the inner and outer corners, and just building it up until I get it to as pigmented as I want the color to be. You'll see, again, I'm switching up my brushes. This is just for precision and detail purposes. I really like to be super precise once I get upwards into the crease because I want a really nice fading effect. So you'll see me go in here to define the shape, and now I'm taking that fluffy blending brush again to just make sure that everything is completely blended out. And then you'll see me go back and just really pack on some more product. So I just go back and forth. Like I said, once you play around with different brushes, you'll understand what to use them for. Now I'm just taking a makeup remover wipe and just making a really sharp edge. This is going to make it easy when we do our winged liner. Now I'm just taking that white shade. I should have tapped off my brush because you can see all of that fallout. And I'm just highlighting my brow bone using this color. This is also sort of like a magic eraser. So if you've brought your shadow up too high, you can just use this to really clean it up and just make everything look a lot neater. And as you can see, switching back to my blending brush, it's all about blending with these looks. If you want them to look really flawless, you have to take the time to go back and really focus on your blending. I promise that is the key to making a beautiful makeup look. Now I'm going back with my favorite shade in the palette. This is a beautiful sparkly gold shade, and I just sprayed my brush with a little bit of Fix Plus, and now I'm just packing this onto the eye. You can see how gorgeous and pigmented this is. It's sort of comparable to the Makeup Geek foiled eyeshadows. It's just super high in pigment, and it's just so sparkly and so beautiful. I swear this is my favorite palette ever. And I just keep going back and building it up like I did with the other shades. And as you can see, I sort of wanted to add a little bit more warmth, so I took those warmer shades and packed it on top of the dark brown. Now I'm taking a black gel eyeliner. This one is by Maybelline, and I'm using an angled liner brush to just create a winged liner. I tried to get as much of this as I could on camera. I get really close to my mirror when I'm doing this, so I'm sorry if I don't get the best footage of me doing my liner. It's really hard. I'm really working on trying to get more of it in my videos. Once I'm done with that, I'm just taking a matte black shadow. I believe I used Makeup Geek's Corrupt shadow, and I'm just using a different angled brush to just set that liner to make it extra black and matte and intense. Now I'm taking this black kohl eyeliner. This one is by Maybelline, and I'm just going to be tight lining. So I'm lining my lower waterline, and then I'm also going to be lining the upper waterline as well. And later on, I will go back and smudge that out. As soon as I'm done with the eyeliner, I applied my lashes. These ones are the Koko Goddess lashes, some of my favorites ever. And then I just applied a quick coat of mascara. I didn't want to make it clumpy, so I just do a really light layer just to make sure that my natural lashes are coated. For primer, I use the Makeup Forever Smoothing Primer, and now I'm taking my favorite drugstore foundation, and actually one of my favorite foundations ever. This is the Maybelline Matte and Poreless in the shade number 128, and I'm just using this brush by Morphe to just apply the foundation onto my face first, and then I'll blend it out with my beauty sponge. But I just found that when I apply it with a brush like this and then go back and really blend it in with the beauty blender, that I just get the fullest, most flawless coverage. So that's what I'm doing first. You can see I love using the Real Techniques Beauty Sponge. I think they recently just updated the texture of this. I feel like it's way more comparable to the Beauty Blender now. I don't know if anyone else has realized that. If you noticed that, then leave a comment in the description box, because I'm pretty sure they changed it. If they didn't, then maybe I'm going crazy. Now I'm taking my RCMA foundation palette, and I'm just going to be using this as my contour shades. So I'm taking this precision brush from Sigma and just applying this in the hollows of my face. Basically everywhere that I would apply my powder bronzer, I'm going to be using cream bronzer today. I like to do this sometimes when I'm doing really dramatic makeup looks. It just really adds more dimension, and I actually feel like it looks more natural and realistic once it's blended out versus powders. So I'm just applying this in the hollows of my cheeks. I like to bring some color up onto my forehead, and I also like to contour right by my chin just to add some structure to the lower part of my face. Once I've placed my contour where I want it, I'm just going to be taking this Duo Fiber blending brush from Sigma. This is my favorite blending brush to blend out creams. It works so beautifully and literally makes your makeup look airbrushed. So I'm just blending out the contoured areas of the face, making sure to blend my contour upwards. You'll see once I get to the cheeks area that I never blend down. That's going to just defeat the purpose of contouring. You can see here that I'm pushing the brush upwards, pushing the product up. This is going to make sure that everything looks lifted and just holds that contoured look that you're going for. I always go back and pounce my beauty sponge right over that just to make sure that everything is 100% blended. Now I'm taking this Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector, and I'm just using this to get rid of the dark circles underneath my eyes. This is such a beautiful product. As you can see, I'm almost completely done with it, which is amazing. I never really finish up products, so you can really tell that I love this stuff. Really great at canceling that darkness. Now I'm going to be highlighting and adding some extra coverage to my face. So I'm taking these two Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealers. One is in the shade Light Neutral and the other is in the shade Light Warm. And I'm just highlighting the high points of my face where I want to add more light and draw attention to my face. So that's going to be underneath the eyes, the chin, nose, and forehead. And just have fun. Like, I always feel like I'm painting my face when it gets to this part, so I always like to do it a little differently. Just make sure that you go in and blend it so your concealer doesn't set right away. And I love to use the beauty sponge for this because I really feel like it just gives you the most flawless concealer application, and it also picks up any excess product so it doesn't leave your under eyes looking cakey. Once I'm done blending out the concealer, I'm going to go ahead and set it using my favorite powder of the moment. This is the RCMA No Color Powder, and I like to just take some and pour a little bit out. That's just like a candle lid. Of course, I washed it and cleaned it, and I just dump a little product on there and then dip my brush into that, because that packaging isn't the best packaging in the world. So that is my little hack that I found there. I see so many videos where people are sort of like dumping the product onto their hand and then taking their brush and using it that way, because the packaging, there's no lid to dump the product into. So I just like to use a candle lid. So if you guys have that powder, there's a little trick for you. So just setting everywhere that I applied concealer and anywhere that my foundation will tend to crease. So smile lines, forehead, underneath the eyes, on the nose. I always have to make sure that my nose is powdered. That's the first place that foundation will break up on me personally. So just going ahead and setting that. And actually recently for my nose, I've been taking my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder and packing this and letting it bake on my nose. This powder is better suited for oily skin, so it doesn't work for me personally underneath the eyes. It's too drying, but I find to set the nose that it really, really works and make sure that my makeup doesn't break up throughout the day. Now I'm just taking a large fluffy brush and setting the rest of my face using my Laura Geller Baked foundation, and now I'm taking the Laura Geller Baked bronzer and just going over where I did the cream contour. So the hollows of the cheeks, up onto the forehead, everywhere that you saw me apply that cream color is where I'm going to be applying the powder bronzer. I always let the Laura Mercier powder bake on my nose until I'm done with my bronzer, and then I just take a brush, sweep it all away, and then I'm just taking a Sigma E25 brush and just using this to bronze up the sides of my nose and add a little contour. I don't really need any crazy contouring, I just like to add some warmth to the nose. Going back with a bigger Sigma Duo Fiber brush, just using this to blend out the powder bronzer. Like I said, these Duo Fiber brushes from Sigma are the best blending brushes ever. Always gives me such a flawless application, so I love these. Once I'm done blending out the bronzer, I'm going to be taking this Becca and Jaclyn Hill face palette. I'm taking the shade Amaretto. I believe it's just the neutral shade, and using this as my blush. This has been one of my favorite blushes recently. It's just so beautiful, so perfect for every single makeup look since it is a neutral color. I always like to put a little blush at the end of my nose, and now I'm mixing together Prosecco Pop and Champagne Pop and just applying this to the very high points of my face. I always love to highlight the very tops of my cheekbones, and then you'll also see me apply some right at the very tip of my nose. You don't have to do that. I just love the look that it gives. I feel like it gives you that little button nose effect. Now I'm going to be cleaning up that contour using this flat top brush from Morphe, and I'm just going back in with that RCMA No Color Powder and just packing this right underneath where the contour is. And I'm going to let this bake while I finish up my eyes. And this is just a technique that I use when I really, really want that super sharp contour. This is not an everyday thing. This was just for the makeup tutorial, for special event makeup, things like that. Going back in with those dark brown shades from the palette, I'm just going to be applying this to the lower lash line and then blending it out. I love blending it out once I apply it underneath the lash line because it really gives it that smoky look rather than just like a harsh color on the lower lash line. So once I apply it, just buffing it out, and then I decided that I wanted to accentuate the inner corner of my eye, so I just took a really, really precise liner brush, went back in with that gel liner, and just made the smallest little detailing on the inner corner of my eye, just to make my eyes look a little bit more elongated and sort of more like a cat eye. Now I'm dusting away that product. As you can see, wow, it really sharpened up that contour. So I just took that brush that had my foundation, my powder foundation on it, and swept it underneath to make it look a little less intense. I used my Skindinavia makeup setting spray to set my makeup, and now I'm taking the Rimmel Lash Accelerator mascara to just coat my lower lashes. I also just went ahead and applied a little bit more mascara on the top lashes as well, because while I was doing the powder on my face, some of it fell down onto the lashes. So I'm just coating the upper lashes as well. And now I'm taking this lip liner by LA Girl. I believe it was in the shade Plum. I'm taking this Maybelline lipstick in the shade Burgundy Blush. I saw Manny use this in one of his fall tutorials from last year, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go and buy this right now. It's so beautiful, just a really classic, deep, dark burgundy shade for the fall time. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Bye!